just so you can talk about your favorite non-New York Yankee team ever. Yeah, you can do that.
I'm gonna let you go first because I'll get too angry and too loud if I have to talk about the Angels too soon.
I mean, you're gonna have to anyway.
But let's delay it, okay?
So, all right. So, Dodger time, right? 2025 champs. Probably my favorite obscure team, if I had to say so myself. So we're gonna start with Pedro on the mound because everybody remembers Dodgers era Pedro as a rookie. Gary Carter behind the plate. Juan Canerico at first base. Nick Puto at second. Hanley Ramirez at short. Omar Garcia Parra at shortstop. Keith Grissom in left. Eric Davis in center. JD Drew in right. And my DH Fred McGriff. The bullpen are Greg Maddux, Garrett Blow, and Nathan Evaldi.
It's a pretty good one. I will say I did not know most of those guys. I did not remember. I remember the Dodgers. I'm surprised you didn't put Manny Ramirez on this Dodgers team.
He was more known. You could argue he's a known Dodger.
That's the only name. Eddie Murray is another one that I'm kind of stretching to use.
There are a couple back and forth, but
There's a couple guys on my list that I saw as Dodgers, and I was like, oh, I wonder if Alex is going to use them. That was the other reason that I didn't put them in the spreadsheet today. Because I have my compliments on the back side of the sheet. Sorry. I don't want you to be able to cheat. So, for my obscure, miserable ass Anaheim Angels, because they're the most miserable franchise in all of sports, and I feel bad for their fans, all four of them. On the mound, I have Bert Blevin. At catcher, I have Austin Romine. At first base, I have Bill Buckner, who after losing the 86 World Series for the Red Sox decided instead of retiring from baseball, he'd just go play for the miserable ass Angels, which is worse than retiring from baseball. At second, I have another former Boston Red Sox, Jerry Remy. At third base, I have Phil Nevin. At shortstop, I picked David Eckstein. I remember him playing. I don't remember him being an Angel that much. My outfield was Raul Ibanez, Hideki Matsui, and Ricky Henderson. At DH, I have Mark Trixera, who most notably is running for Congress in the state of Texas now. So I like to think that it's because he remembers that he was an Angel at some point, and that was more difficult than running our government. And then my other three pitchers I have are Johnny Cueto, Matt Harvey, and former Cincinnati Red Joe Nuxhall.
So you forgot Tim Lincecum there, but
there were like 15 other people. Other names that I had on my list were Tim Lincecum, Eddie Murray, Dave Winfield. There were a few others that I saw, and I was like, I could put them, but I don't think they need to be subjected to the madness. Like, they don't need to be associated with the Angels. And by the way, when I found out Trixera played for the Angels, which by the way, he played for them before he played for the Yankees. Did not know that either. Until today.
He got traded a couple times before he signed there, though.
Fair. But I looked at it and I was like, oh, if it was after the Yankees, the joke about running for Congress being an easier task than dealing with being an Angel would have been so much funnier.
Well, again, you kind of realize how much some guys move around at the same time, too.
By the way, this exercise has made me realize how much more of a piss-poor organization the Angels are. They've had literally every name I mentioned was a great talent. I also didn't mention Mike Napoli. I thought he was a pretty common one for catcher. Catcher was the hardest position for me to find a player that I was like, I know who he is, but I don't associate him with the Angels. The Angels had Vlad Guerrero Sr., again, one that wouldn't fit this list, because I think everyone and their uncle knows that he played for the Angels. But Dante Bichette was on that list. Not that he was an amazing baseball player, but he's good. Obviously, Tim Salmon, who played his whole career with the Angels. That's the least obscure you could have. A guy that literally had his whole career there. But I just was looking at the list of names, and I was like, you've had so many good baseball players. How do you only have like one World Series, and it's 2002 that you won it? It just, most miserable fan base in the world has to be the Angels fans. Like I said, all four of them. Like, is there anything positive coming out of the Angels? They switched away from their cool kind of their blue uniforms back to their red that looks crappy. They lose all their good talent or waste all their good talent their whole careers. Like, miserable organization. The only good news that comes out of it, Alex, is I get to pick for this next one.
Yep.
So, ready? I'm going to write this down so I don't have to watch the VOD 4 times to find it. Card Royal. I'm going to take the Royal, actually. Because there's a couple names I already know off the dome, as it were, that fit that's kind of an obscure stop for him. Again, it's also a lot of times that's a very good like rookie stop, I've noticed.
Yeah, one of those teams that'll move on from rookies.
Oh, also, by the way, when going back to obscure, just so I can hammer home how much I can't stand the miserable acting. I almost put a guy on the list that played for the Angels this year.